Hello dear students, we are going to study about the electrostatics. At first let us take the basics of electrostatics. Electrostatics is the branch of physics that deals with the stationary electric charges. Electric charge is a fundamental quantity that can be measured. Electric charge, which is denoted by symbol Q, is the product of electric current and time, and its unit is ampere into second, which is equal to coulomb, denoted by C. Electric charge may be positive or negative, and it is a scalar quantity. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract. Electric charge is quantized, which means that the electric charge is integral multiple of electronic charge E. That is, Q is equal to plus minus n into E, where n is integer 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and E is the charge of electron, which is denoted by E and is equal to minus 1.6 into 10 to minus 19 coulomb, which is the charge of electron. Charge of proton is same as that of electron but with the positive sign. That is, charge of proton is equal to E is equal to plus 1.6 into 10 to minus 19 coulomb. Mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 to minus 31 kg, and the mass of proton is 1.67 into 10 to minus 27 kg. Thus, the mass of proton is 1836 times the mass of electron. That is, mass of proton is equal to 1836 into mass of electron. Next, we take conductors. A material through which electric charge can flow is called electrical conductor. For example, metals, salt, earth, human body, carbon as charcoal and graphite, acids and metals are the examples of conductors. Conductors have free electrons. Insulators, material that does not allow electric current to pass through it, is called insulator. Insulator has no free electrons. For example, glass, paper, dry hair, plastic, diamond, non-metals etc. are insulators. Next, charging by rubbing. When two certain objects are rubbed with each other, then the body that loses electrons is positively charged and the body that gains electrons is negatively charged. For example, when glass rod is rubbed with silk, the glass rod is positively charged and silk is negatively charged. Similarly, when dry hair is rubbed with the plastic comb, then dry hair is positively charged and comb is negatively charged. Next, we take charging by conduction. When a charged body A is touched with uncharged body B placed on insulating stand, then the body B is charged with similar charges to that on body A. Here, as shown in figure 1, this is a charged body connected with the insulating handle, and this one is uncharged conductor placed on insulating stand. When the charged body A is touched with the uncharged conductor B, then similar charges are developed on the conductor B. This is known as charging by conduction. Next, we take charging by induction. The process of charging a body without touching it is called electrostatic induction. When the charged body also known as inducing body, is taken near the uncharged body, then equal and opposite charges are induced on the front face and equal and similar charges are induced on the back face of the uncharged body, which is also known as induced body, as shown in this figure. Here this is initially charged body with positive charge, and this is initially uncharged body placed on insulating stand. Charged body A is taken near the uncharged body B, then equal but opposite charges. That is, if it has charge plus Q, then it induces charge minus Q on front face, and equal and similar charges are induced on the back face of the uncharged body, as shown in this figure. Now left end of body B is earthed so that the free charges here on this side, so that the free charges on the left side of body B move to earth, as shown in figure 2b. Next we remove the earth without displacing the body A. Negative charges are the charges on the front face of body B remain still bound, as shown in figure 2c. When the body A is removed away, then the charges on body B are uniformly distributed on it, as shown in figure 2d. In this way we can charge a body by electrostatic induction negatively. To charge body B positively, we repeat the same process by taking negative charges on body A. Next we take Coulomb's law. According to Coulomb's law, the electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between two charges separated by a finite distance is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of two charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. Thus, if two charges Q1 and Q2 are separated by finite distance r, then the force of attraction or repulsion between two charges is directly proportional to the product of the magnitudes Q1 and Q2 of two charges and inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. Thus, F is directly proportional to Q1 into Q2 upon r square. Hence, F will be equal to K into Q1 Q2 upon r square, where constant K depends on the medium between two charges and the system of units taken. In SI system, for air or vacuum medium, K is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, having value 9 into 10 to power 9. Its unit is Newton meter square upon Coulomb square, where epsilon naught is 1 upon 4 pi into 9 into 10 to power 9 Newton meter square upon Coulomb square, which gives 8.85 into 10 to minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton per meter square, and is known as the permittivity of air or vacuum. With equation 2, equation 1 can be written as F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1 Q2 upon r square. And if the medium between two charges is other than air or vacuum, then equation 3 is written as F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon into Q1 Q2 upon r square, where epsilon is the permittivity of the medium. or F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught epsilon r into q1 q2 upon r square, because epsilon r is the ratio of epsilon and epsilon naught, which is the ratio of permittivity of medium to the permittivity of air or vacuum. Therefore, epsilon will be equal to epsilon naught into epsilon r, and epsilon r is known as dielectric constant of the medium. Epsilon r is called dielectric constant or relative permittivity. Of the medium. Now let us take two numerical problems. First one is, find the force of attraction between proton and electron separated by distance 10 to minus 14 meter. So solution to question 1. Here r is equal to 10 to minus 14 meter. This is distance between electron and proton. We know charge q1 is equal to charge q2. This is charge of electron, this is charge of proton. Both have same magnitude, 1.6 into 10 to minus 19 coulomb. We have to find the electrostatic force. Then F will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0, charge of electron, charge of proton, E into E upon r square. So 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 has value 9 into 10 to power 9. This is E square, 1.6 into 10 to minus 19 square upon 10 to minus 14 square. On simplification it gives 2.304 Newton. And in question 2 we have to find the gravitational force of attraction between electron and proton. Mass of proton is denoted by mp, is equal to 1.67 into 10 to minus 27 kg, and mass of electron is denoted by me, which has value 9.1 into 10 to minus 31 kg. So solution to question 2. Given mass of proton 1.67 into 10 to minus 27 kg, mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to minus 31 kg, distance between electron and proton is 10 to minus 14 meter. We have to find F, gravitational force. between electron and proton. We know gravitational force is given by Newton's law of gravitation as F is equal to G. m1 is mass of proton, m2 is mass of electron upon distance square. Putting the values, G has value 6.67 into 10 to minus 11. Mass of proton 1.67 into 10 to minus 27. Mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to minus 31, whole divided by r square means 10 to minus 14 square. On simplification we get force as 1 into 10 to minus 39 Newton. So we see that electrostatic force is 2.304, whereas gravitational force is 1 into 10 to minus 39 Newton. Hence, gravitational force of attraction between electron and proton is negligibly small as compared to the electrostatic force between electron and proton.